Last time on Tales of Lizalfos.
It is my sacred duty to
Fear and hunger among us.
For real?
Now you come out! Barrel! Actual author degree.
Shut up!
If you're out there, watching over us, hear my plea. With all we've learned, and all we've seen, bring us back to where it all began.
That's right, we're gonna cheat.
And now for something completely different. Remnant from the Ashes is the third best co-op game and third best third-person shooter ever made. It's Dark Souls with guns. Much like Dark Souls, Remnant has bosses, and said bosses drop materials to be crafted into unique weapons and active skills you can put on weapons known as mods. These weapons often have interesting properties like elemental damage, abnormal range, and fire rate, and mods already baked in. What gave me the idea for this run in the first place? Well, YouTube likes to put Dark Souls content, particularly from JK Leeds and Doomwolf, in my feed. So this is my contribution to that sphere, also to test if I can. So yeah, the run will be I have to use every boss weapon and mod as I get it. The other rules include, if a boss gives a mod, I must put on one of the starting weapons and swap out my oldest equipped gun if both guns are from bosses. I can only use the starting armor. Nearly all rings, talismans, and traits obtained are allowed. Account-wide items are not allowed, however, so no Nightmare Spiral or Black Cat Band, for example. Adventure mode will not be allowed. I cannot re-roll the story, but I can grind. Any optional dungeon I roll is allowed, and when or if I do them is entirely up to me. Normal difficulty to preserve sanity. I will skip the tutorial. This video will cover the base game and DLC story campaigns. That was more clarification than I probably should have given, but with that cleared up, let's start the run. After booting the game, I go through a basic character creator and choose one of 3 classes. Look, I'm picking ex-cultist. I want to actually use boss weapon mods, and the passive mod generation on the armor allows exactly that. Being a light roll armor set helps too. Hunter also isn't a bad choice for the more reliable long gun and damage bonus either. Much like Dark Souls, Remnant has a pretty basic story. You see these thinly veiled communist allegories? They're called the Root. They took over the world, wiped out most of humanity, and we have to get rid of them. How they got here? I don't know. Yet. Oh, and there's something about finding a Ford. I'd rather cars stop existing altogether, but oh well. I mess around with the graphics settings to eke out a stable frame rate while recording, so my apologies for the graphics quality. I can normally do 60 FPS medium settings. I could have waited for it to go on sale on PS5 and try recording with that, but I also initially had issues with Steam not detecting L3 R3 inputs with my DualSense, so I managed to fix that recalibrating my controller in Steam. Weirdly enough, L3 R3 worked in other games and my Switch controller worked fine. So, yap time about the starting gear. Every class starts with a repeater pistol as their starting handgun. Funnily enough, it's one of the more reliable guns, sporting a nice mix of damage, range, and speed. As for the long gun, the coach gun, however, is the main drawback of being an ex-cultist. It can do solid damage, but the range is bad and the ammo capacity is straight up offensive. At least that's my usual impression. I wasn't impressed with the shotguns here in my previous hours playing. The scrap hatchet's okay. Mainly it's just something you have to build for in this game. The Mender's Aura mod can be surprisingly effective, not only giving you a source of healing that can be replenished during fights, but also being faster than just using a Dragon Heart. Its main drawback is just that it heals over time and in a small area. The first accessory I get is an evade ring on my way to the first boss. It's not exciting in my opinion, but you can't go wrong with better dodge rolls in the dodge roll genre. I end up keeping it on the rest of the run. The first boss is Shroud. They pretty much hang back, fire bleed inflicting arrows, maybe bleed explosions, teleport across the arena, and of course summon mobs. Funnily enough, I'm pretty sure this is the easier of the 2 first bosses you can fight, though that's balanced by Shroud rolling health regeneration as their passive this time. I died once, with the main change to strategy the following run was just to aggressively focus on the boss.
It's over.
Shroud drops the Rattleweed mod. It's a purely defensive summon that doesn't aggro bosses. Thankfully it helps for the horde encounter coming up. Mudtooth isn't random in story mode, but he can still exhaust his dialogue for his amulet that increases stamina regen and reduces stamina costs. Basically, this game wants me to have a dodge build for now. Oh yeah, after running through a tunnel, we arrive at a chapel where we defend some Root Mother from the Horde of Root. This is a bit scary since my selection of guns isn't clearing rooms at great pace, though Rattleweed does in fact get mileage. For winning, you get a damage reduction trait, the NPC who can upgrade your Estus capacity, and the second area of Earth opens up. I'm mainly going to prioritize core traits like health and mod generation this run. I could have taken a detour early on for an experience booster trait, but I don't feel like recording that, even if I do have to go back later. I roll the harder of the world bosses for Earth. A putrid peddler pleasure peripheral singes one mad dragon. They set things on fire, summon goons that get set on fire, and can charge at you. No joke, I was gonna be like, this boss isn't anything special, but no, I in fact struggled and saw that you died screen multiple times. Having to use ammo boxes or rely on enemy drops to replenish ammo will happen in this fight, and you really should upgrade your gear if you haven't already. Up to +2 is good enough, though apparently you're meant to be +5. Rattleweed helped out more than I expected, even distracting the boss a bit despite what the mod's description says. Oh yeah, areas in Remnant 1 scale to your gear level on entering for the first time or when re-rolled. There are minimum gear levels each rolled can be at for the main story, but I might as well bring this up. The main reason to stay low in this run is mostly to minimize the resource strain from constantly changing and upgrading boss weapons. Oh yeah, worth noting, much like the series Remnant takes after, boss weapon upgrades count for 2 gear levels and max out at half the upgrades. Like every world boss, Singe has 2 weapon drops, one requiring meeting a special condition in your winning run. In Singe's case, you cut his tail for a flaming sword. I will not be doing that. Singe's normal drop is the handgun Spitfire. It's basically a machine pistol that deals fire damage with a flamethrower ult that uses mod power. Very solid weapon normally. Beating Singe takes us to a tower where we are informed communism has spread all over the universe, then are sent to the Labyrinth, a nexus to other worlds. We can only visit one new world for now. But first, this video is not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Play the mobile sensation with graphics to destroy your phone battery, the laziest user interface known to man, a combat system you'll set to auto anyways, and a cash shop to fund massacres all across the Middle East. Only defining itself from the rest of the App Store shit pit with heroes like... Oh, wow. Excuse me?
I came...
Play a better game like Remnant now! ROM is the part of the game where the devs took clear influence from Resident Evil 5. What with all the sand and the massacring vaguely colonialist caricatures and the stealing their shit. Now if only the shotguns were as good as Resident Evil's. ROM decides to bless this run with Eslon's Band. It's a ring that boosts health and more importantly grants passive health regen. It's not by much, but it's convenient for exploring. I say that like I'm ever taking it off. I'm gonna miss the Spitfire. The normal fire is iffy for mobbing, but the flamethrower is super useful for elite mobs. Iron Hive is one of the mandatory areas rolled for ROM. The flying skull enemies can be annoying, and the boss is named Scourge for a reason. This boss, much like one of the elites in the dungeon leading to it, responds to every hit by sending a radioactive projectile your way. Unlike set elites, this includes when you use Spitfire's ult fire. Thankfully, this boss doesn't roll Regenerator because they spend a fair amount of time straight up invincible. Very likely you will get irradiated in this fight, having your stamina. Scourge drops Breath of the Desert. A pretty standard offensive mod, Desert of Death fires 7 homing projectiles, each dealing solid radioactive damage. I got a radioactive ember in the hive as well just to eke out more damage on this. I enter a dungeon with a blank name, rush past it, equip the radioactive ember, upgrade everything to about +5, and it turns out we rolled the Harrow. I get creamed almost immediately and my frame rate chugs despite the small room, but I managed to turn this harrowing situation around to a first attempt win. This boss is notable for having an instant kill move, though with good enough DPS you won't see it. Also, sorry to say we won't be seeing the alternate weapon. You need to stagger the boss by shooting its legs and grabbing the harpoon off its back, and while I'm not built for stagger or leg shots, look, it's just a melee weapon. You thought I was gonna use it? I'd like to give thanks to the Spitfire. You're a pretty good gun all in all. Your performance against the Flying Skulls was to be expected, but you did great against everything else. I'll miss you, because the Harrow drops a handgun. The Defiler's a handheld shotgun that does radiation damage, with a mod that fires bouncing radiation shots. I think this game now wants me to do a radiation build. Wrapping up the vacuous spider, we meet the guy whose band I'm wearing as he emerges from his cum chamber. The Undying King asks us to go kill another planet's god so he can save his own. Suspect if you ask me, but his minimum gear level is higher than the final boss, so I should do as he asks. Of course, this isn't like other Miyazaki swamps. The mud here is red and the ailment is the defense reducing corrosion. Honestly, one of my favorite worlds in this game aesthetically. Let's hope the required bosses I roll are any good. The rolled bosses here are fixed spawns in the main story, first of whom we fight immediately, that being the Unclean One. We can't speak unto this filth, so we fight them normally. You can stealth into their basement for a fight without mobs and an alternate drop, but quite frankly, the shockwave they get to compensate is a near undodgeable insta-kill for me. Yes, their weak point is their butt, don't ask. For giving the average melee player a shower, we get one of the best long guns and dare I say one of the best weapons in the game, the Devastator. I'm already quite fond of single shot weapons in these games, and this one packs a mod that does absurd amounts of bleed damage. Unfortunately, we roll Kanker as the next boss. By far the easiest boss in the game. You aren't completely safe, but you can stand at the arena's entrance and the boss can't do shit to you most of the time. To add insult to insult, the boss drops the Corrosive Aura mod. Now this has its uses, but for this run it pretty much kills off the Defiler. It didn't top the Spitfire, but the Defiler did stuff. It probably would have done more had I been willing to splurge on upgrades, but that's a risk I can't take for now. Running past some enemies later, we fight the other coarsest world boss, Ixalis. Yeah, they don't fuck around. Imagine if Moonlight Butterfly from Dark Souls could regularly attack, had undodgeable projectiles you had to shoot, could ring you out, and there was 2 of them. Yeah, that's the Ixalis fight. I upgraded my gear to around gear level 8 and still lost multiple times. You can actually get the second Ixalis to enter with a quarter less health. I wouldn't say it's worth it since you still have to use ammo on the cocoon, and they come out when the first Ixalis is at 75% anyways. The Corrosive Aura mod is also entirely useless in this fight since they both fly outside of melee range. Yeah, I wasn't able to get the alternate weapon drop either. You pretty much have to beat both at the same time, and the window you get after one drops is small. Shame. I was hoping to change my melee weapon at some point.
Over.
Hive Cannon is still good though. It's a handgun with explosive bullets and its mod inflicts corrosive, increasing the damage you deal by up to 50%. It used to be much stronger, but I didn't play this game until well after it was done being patched. So we could give the heart to the king and head straight to Yesha. We also met a queen a while back who wants the heart, but she doesn't drop anything we can use. Whatever boss comes up next, I'll have to ditch the Devastator, and I don't know if giving the heart to the king will lock out his fight. Might as well go out with a bang. Eslon's gonna become the Dying King. Fuck, this will take some attempts. Eslon's a quintessential Remnant 1 boss, alright. Keeps back and summons goons to keep heat off him. Eslon is mostly distinct for having a minimum expected gear level of 14. Given my best currently equipped piece is effectively a +6, this will in fact be hard. Have I mentioned Remnant bosses have level differential bonuses? Because yeah, they straight up do more and take less damage based on that fact. Don't worry about his regeneration, it can't go past half health and he can't resummon while meditating.
Not enough room.
For winning, Eslon drops the long gun Ruin. It's a scoped burst firing rifle with a passive undying effect on the mod. It normally has a 5-minute cooldown, but it goes down to 2 if you're wearing Eslon's band. Unlike most other world bosses, Eslon does not have conditional drops. Well, goodbye Devastator, you can't be rated highly enough. Realizing I will eventually have to grind out luminite crystals and scrap just so my weapons do anything, I spend an indeterminate amount of time between recordings doing literally anything else, like working on my next video script. I say like I also didn't procrastinate on editing. I also try different resolution and full screen settings again, some basically against my will. This seems to stabilize the frame rate for the next area, Yeisha. A lush jungle planet, Yeisha is the part where they once again for good measure took clear influence from Resident Evil 5, what with the massacring vaguely colonialist caricatures and the stealing their shit. Somehow, despite my guns being very underleveled, getting through Yeisha is less miserable than playing Remnant 2 normally. The story exclusive horde encounter was intense, but I clutched out on my first attempt. For winning, we get slightly stronger healing before being told Stanford might not be here. Regardless, I continue on, rolling Widow's Pass as my dungeon. Even with severely underleveled guns, Onslaught isn't super threatening. You can move back to avoid most of their attacks, and they usually aren't in the arena during their goon sesh. I almost die with a boss at a sliver, but I will be the liver of this encounter. Goodbye, Hive Cannon. It's nice having a normal gun in my hand again, but you did stuff. Arguably more than Ruin can. Onslaught drops a mod that gives you their electric burst teleport and blink token. Never really used it before, but it could be useful. It seems I have a decent luminite crystal farming spot at the ruins teleport in Yeisha. I'm saying this because I had to grind a fair bit knowing I'm low, the world boss is nearby, and I'll want to grind more later. I roll Ravager. The alternate win condition lets you do an annoying bell puzzle to outright skip the fight. Unfortunately, I'm doing a video. So get out your baked beans and ink blot masks for splitting the dog's head. Ravagers tells throw me off a fair bit, but I eventually get used to it. They mostly just charge at you. Blink token can get some damage and defeat the very telegraphed ads. It's weird, despite the fight's length and my usual struggles with this fight normally, I have less to say than when I fought Singe. Heck, Ruin didn't even get to activate. After consulting Tom King on the script, we get the handgun, Curse of the Jungle God. It's an electric repeater pistol with an interesting mod. It sets up electric tentacles that heal me based on the damage they do. Oh yeah, we found that Ford guy. Something about Clawbone and Harsgard's Dreamer, and we get a key to use in the hub area. I should have come here early to quickly get the experience trade and some consumables, but as we head to the mirror, we learn this whole mess was because a guy voiced by Yuri Lowenthal abused a child into ending the world. I feel like I've seen that plot point before. I highly recommend getting your gear to at least level 10 for the final boss. Dreamer is a 2-phaser. The first phase is pretty short. Keep distance, roll when they fire a salvo, or start sucking you in, slay mobs. The second phase, Nightmare, is known to trip players up. They take basically no damage for most of the fight. You can easily avoid their one attack by simply moving to the side, but they will throw you in the chip damage dimension sooner or later. And you have to defeat enemies in order to stack up a buff that lets you damage the boss. The curse really helps here with a life drain on the mod, and yeah, I had plenty of blood wart. The whole fight was 12 minutes, but I do end up winning on my first try. Yay, we did it! We stopped the spread of communism! Why is Earth still shitty? The Ruin did good. I didn't expect it to do much, and yeah, it's pretty simple. What it does do? I mean, there are guns I'd use over it, but it's hardly bad. Well, goodbye Ruin, and hello Repulsor! Repulsor is a shotgun with a mod that temporarily exiles target creature, then gives them a take more damage debuff for a bit. It's time for the DLC campaign. Subject 2923 starts off reminding us communism still infests the earth, so we gotta go to Ward Prime to stop it. We gotta get through Silent Hill first. Not much of note here. There's a horde of rats you gotta fight, but otherwise you might as well run past the place. Ward Prime is where Remnant takes influence from Resident Evil 6 being a long stretch where nothing fucking happens. I have to mention this place cause we'll be back. After getting lost in Ward Prime, we eventually reach Skyrim and meet one of the Dreamers in Clementine, who we have to follow for now. Racem is an ice world inhabited by Skaven from Timu. They definitely fuck around least of the common goons given they try to stay covered and pellet you from afar, but it's nothing you can't deal with. I roll Albrecht as the dungeon boss of this world. This absolute unit is the bane of survival mode runs, constantly closing in, using moves that bait and punish incorrect dodging, having a deceptively small hitbox, and applying frostbite to further slow me down. So how does he fuck me up this run? It takes 3 minutes to blow this rat to Kingdom Come. I made multiple mistakes that normally could get me killed, but between Repulsor's solid damage, Subject 2923 scaling to my current gear level, my health regen, and decently upgraded armor, this was one of the easier fights of the run. For becoming an enemy of Nixon, I get the Frozen Mist mod. It's an icy grenade that does solid damage on hit, even more damage over time, and slows anyone in range, including you. It'll come in handy very soon, even just for dealing with mobs. It is also with a twinge of sadness I must retire the Curse of the Jungle God. It's a solid gun with a pretty useful mod, and probably got me through the last 2 bosses. That's it. Not too far from Albrecht is the world boss of Racem, Broodvok and Vargir. Sort of an Ornstein and Smo deal, whichever boss you slay first powers up the other for the second phase, and of course modifies what reward you get. Broodvok, the rider, is the hot rat, and he knows it because he uses the weapon of that one fighting game sex symbol. I think it was Scorpion? No. Maybe Axel? Maybe? Well anyways, Vargir is the mole rat. The rats definitely aren't as confusing or hard as O and S, having a more symbiotic relationship, Broodvok often riding Vargir to ram you. Frozen Mist definitely shows value with Broodvok often standing in place trying to zone you. All in all, an easy fight first try.
of you! A fight to take!
It's over.
For beating Rufus before Ron, we get the Chain Blade. Wow, first melee weapon since the Scrap Hatchet. It's a sword, but oh wow, it extends on charged melee hits. It's just like that one game. I think it was Bloodborne. This totally wasn't a strategic play to keep Repulsor for one more boss. To my surprise, after the world boss, there's another area for mobbing and a boss to do before we're done with Racem. We roll Tien, the assassin. He's easy. Fake news. Reggie really isn't that hard. He'll often stand in place to throw knives so you can get some frozen mist damage on him. His knives all have sound cues to let you know you'll need a dodge, and the ads are very telegraphed. Not much to say. His mod, for as briefly as we'll get to use it, is pretty good. Phantom Knives quickly fires out, well, knives, and Bleed is pretty solid in this game. Also, goodbye, Repulsor. I've been prejudiced towards shotguns in this, and yeah, it was unfounded. The Repulsor's pretty good, and while basic, the mod has been nice for bosses and elites. We encounter Clementine again to see she has to heal the Shadow of the Colossus looking thing, then a brief mobbing segment where I bust some bowls. Back to Ward Prime, Clementine has her last bit of relevance before being Princess Peached in Remnant 2 by opening up the final boss.
You think you're saving the world, don't you?
Damn, Harsgard, your face is looking awfully, Yannick. What could Gunfire Games mean by this? Harsgard, being the final boss of Subject 2923, does not fuck around. Massive health pool, near automata ass ball spam, lasers that do fuck you damage. And for good measure, Sheffield here gets an even spammier second phase that replaces your long gun with a new boss weapon. So no, I didn't even get to have knives after phase 1. The fusion rifle isn't half bad though. It's basically a minigun that can fire spikes of damage with its mod. Plus it comes pre-upgraded to the gear level you enter the fight at, so it's not useless. The fight takes a while, I make many mistakes and get hit with so many lasers with weird hitboxes, and somehow I only died once to this fight, and it was in the first phase.
Wrong. You're just another heartless narcissist. Humanity's better than that. It's better than you. Get him, Traveler.
That's it. That's Harsgard. That's the root. That's Remnant. I'm not doing the sequel. Like, comment, subscribe, hype the video so I can make a fool of myself to a wider audience. Oh, I guess I should show Harsgard's weapon. It's a sword that shoots lasers. Cool? Yeah? Well, the video's over. Bye!